Dele Momodu Leadership Lecture happening right now at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, that's NIIA, in Kofo Abayomi, Victoria Island, Lagos. This is an event sponsored by Dele Momodu Foundation, and the topic is how to end hunger and poverty in Nigeria. The lecturer for the day is former President Olusegun Obasanjo, GCFR, and top dignitaries will be there as well, the likes of former President Goodluck Jonathan.
Ensure that there's no lack of education. Lack of education for a child gives that child every high probability of being abjectly poor and falling into hunger trap. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude on my strong conviction and equally on strong warning. With integrity, discipline, good governance, elimination of corruption and waste, Nigeria can get rid of abject poverty and chronic hunger within a decade and a half. We have 24 million children that should be in school that are not in school. 24 million out of 244 in the world. We have 10% of the world children that should be in school that are not in school. If we are going to talk of eliminating hunger and abject poverty, we must get all those children into school. And as I said, I believe we do it well. In 15 years, we can get our population almost 100% educated in 15 years. But to do that, you need the right leadership. And if we have that, as I said, good governance, elimination of corruption and waste, Nigeria can get rid of abject poverty and chronic hunger within a decade and a half. If China can do it, China lifted 700 million people. I have been in China. I've been in their rural area where I live with the poor people who, in winter, for heating their rooms, is the cooking that they allow the smoke to go under their bed. That's how they heat their room. But within a space of 15 years, China lifted 700 million people out of poverty. So we can achieve that if all things are equal. And as I said, if China can do it, we can do it. We have human and non-human materials to banish poverty and hunger from Nigeria. But what applies to Nigeria applies to almost all other countries in Africa. Nigeria should have no business with poverty and abject poverty and hunger. God has not made that our Lord. Rather, it is the conscious and unconscious choice of Nigerian leaders. And this is no different from any other African country in similar situation. That situation must be changed. Now comes the strong warning. If we don't take up the responsibility to take care of educating the uneducated and integrating them into constructive, productive, and gainfully engage them within the society. The uneducated and the unemployed will take care of us all as unpleasantly as they can make it. We are all sitting on kegs of gunpowder. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. We should create no room for the poor and the hungry, because in desperation, their fury will be uncontrollable. The good news, though, is that God has endowed us with adequate resources in Nigeria to have no abject poor and chronic hungry among us. So are many other countries in Africa that are also richly endowed. Let me take one of the countries that is regarded as poor in Africa, DRC. Right now, I'm involved in the DRC. This is a country that has 9 countries as its neighbor that borders with him, and the sea, so the largest in Africa. No other country in Africa is bordered by 9 countries. It's a country that has 2 time zones, the only country in Africa. The time in Kinshasa is 1 hour behind the time in Goma. It's a country that is 2.5 times the size of Nigeria. 2.5 times the size of Nigeria. It's a country that has about 1/3 the population of Nigeria. It's a country that has 60% of the cobalt, and for if we are talking of battery car and all that, you need cobalt. 60% of the cobalt deposit in the world is in DRC. There's a neighbor of DRC that has no cobalt and is exporter of cobalt. There's a country, neighbor of DRC, that didn't have gold. It has 8 gold refineries. And that country, DRC, is still regarded as one of the poorest countries in Africa. Now, how can that be? If all things are. I was first in DRC on the 1st of October 1960 as a young officer under the UN peacekeeping. In 2009, I was sent to DRC again by Ban Ki-moon, and I was there for 18 months just to see what is going on. The problem of DRC in 1960 was still there in 2009, and the problem of DRC in 1960 and 2009 are even more there today. Now, I give that as a typical example. You can take any other country. They will be more or less in the same situation. It may be just a little bit different. So, what am I saying? What am I saying is simple. That leadership matters. And what applies to Nigeria applies to any other country. And I've given an example. Nigeria should have no business, as I've said, with the poverty. And this is no different from Malawi, make it Zambia, any other country. Now, so we are all endowed. What matters is what we make of the endowment. We have no reason to complain. And why we are complaining is because we are not doing enough for ourselves. Why are we poor? We are poor because unwittingly we have chosen to be poor. Let me give another example. Some time ago when I was president, there was problem in Guinea-Bissau. And I was chair of AU, John Kufuor of Ghana was chair of ECOWAS. And then I said to him, let's go. And he said, where are we going? I said, we are going to Guinea-Bissau. Meet me at the airport. And he did. And what do we have? We met at the airport. He came into my plane. And as we were about to land, he looked, everything was green. Water, green. And he said to me, hey, my brother, this country should not be poor. I said, my brother, tell me which country should be poor in Africa. And that is true. Which country should be poor in Africa? When we got there, this is a country, if you plant any fruit, any tropical fruit, it will grow luxuriantly. We got to the hotel. We had imported grape, not banana, not orange, not pineapple, not tangerine, imported grape. We had imported apple. So I told President Joao Lourenco, I said, I am protesting. He said, how are you protesting? I said, I'm protesting by not eating this fruit that they've put here. And that is the type of Africa that we give to ourselves. Now, I believe what God, we should pray God who has endowed us with all the resources, that you should also endow us with the provision of leadership for great leap forward for Nigeria and for global Africa. The leadership. Really, thank you for successfully pulling a fast one on me. And if I know Ruben, as I said, maybe he has some hand in the conspiracy. But really, in all seriousness, on my own behalf, and on behalf of all of us here and all your friends who are not here, but who wish you well, and especially on behalf of Kabesi and your senior friend brother who has lost one day from the 3 days that he was senior to you, I congratulate you most heartily. And I hope that 5 years from now, when you will be celebrating your 70, you will invite me properly, and I will answer you adequately. And on that occasion, we will be able to examine what progress Africa has made in banishing hunger and poverty. Because until we are able to do that, we are not going to be recognized as right as we should be recognized by the international community. That I know, and I believe that you know. Africa has embarked on a journey of making Africa what God has created it to be, a land flowing with milk and honey. To achieve that, we need all hands on deck, and particularly the hands of our leaders, to make sure that we are able to turn God's resources to our benefit. Thank you.
All right, with that, we'll take a quick break and be back shortly. Thank you for staying with us. Now, the Defense Headquarters has dismissed the viral video circulating on social media claiming to show terrorists overrunning a military base in Marte, Borno State. In a statement late Thursday, DHQ described the footage as fake and part of a disinformation campaign. Major General Marcus Kangye, Director of Defense Media Operations, clarified that the video was originally posted on December 7, 2020 and is unrelated to the recent attack in Marte. He said forensic analysis confirmed the video's terrain and content do not match the recent events. The military emphasized that troops successfully repelled the May 12, 2025 attack, neutralizing many terrorists. The old video, they say, was recycled to mislead and spread fear. The admission by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAM, that its just concluded 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination was marred by widespread technical failures and irregularities means that over 379,000 candidates now required to resit the exam. Now, despite JAM's admission of its errors and apology, the announcement has sparked outrage among candidates and education stakeholders who are demanding accountability and answers. News Central's Omolola Ololade has more in this report.
Emotions ran high at JAM headquarters as Registrar Professor Oloyede broke down in tears during his media briefing, admitting that technical glitches, biometric verification failures and possible malpractices at some centers may have compromised the exam's credibility. In response to widespread public outcry, JAM cancelled the affected result and announced a free receipt for over 379,000 candidates.
Accept the explanation I've given as the truth on this matter. I apologize and take full responsibility, not just in words.
Across Nigeria, the news was met with shock and disappointment. Many students who excelled in mock exams received scores far below expectations. The psychological impact has been severe, with reports that one affected student took their own life. News Central spoke to some candidates who shared their distressing experiences.
Immediately I saw my results, I was inside the room. I stood up from the bed. When I saw that the 175 they gave me, I went to the parlor, I started crying. So when I started crying, my mom, she entered, she was not like, what's making me cry? I said, and I showed her the result. She was like, eh? She was like, no, this is not a result. I said, yes, miss, I know this is not my results. My mom called me, she said, okay, what did you get? I was like, 140. She said, it's a lie. That you're joking. I was like, no, mom, I'm not joking. And I sent her evidence, screenshots, that this is my result. And she was like, I'm still lying. Then I told my dad, he said, this is not your results.
There were no questions, only options, especially English. And if you do physics, some diagrams were not even clear for you to be able to see answers.
For parents, the situation has triggered mixed reactions. While some praised JAMB's honesty, others expressed anger, calling for sanctions, compensation, and more than just a receipt.
By the time she got to the venue, a center for her exam, they were told right there that this is not where they will be using for the exam. So each parent or whoever that follow them have to take another bus to another center. So if the child, that would have even destabilized the child.
However, education experts say the alarmingly high failure rate reflects deeper systemic issues within Nigeria's educational system.
Most schools do not get involved in the registration of JAMB, so they do not have the opportunity to coordinate the students effectively and making them cover syllabus. Such an attention they pay to WAEC and coverage, they don't pay similar attentions to JAMB.
JAMB is not a tea party. JAMB is quite difficult, more difficult than WAEC. And not many students are being taught rightly. A lot of them, just get to know the basic things, but by the time they get to JAMB, they meet more difficult, questions, and that is why you see all these centers thriving.
With some schools, students and parents threatening legal action against JAMB, legal experts have begun weighing in on the potential implications for the examination board.
There are those who are calling for the sack or the resignation of the registrar. We are not calling for that. We are saying that the exam should be set aside and that a compensation of 10 billion naira be paid to all these affected students. The reason we are doing this is because if we fail to hold this institution accountable, we will run into situations in future where JAMB may call for an exam, and on the day of that exam, it will say there is no exam whatsoever. We'll get to that point.
As university admissions hang in the balance, the big question remains, is this a win in the fight against malpractice or a glaring failure of Nigeria's education system? For now, millions of dreams remain in limbo. In Lagos, for News Central, Omolola Ololade.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has called for the establishment of at least one computer-based testing center in each of the 774 local government areas of the country for the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. The lawmakers made the resolution during plenary on Thursday following the admission by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board that there were glitches in this year's examination. According to the lawmakers, the move would aid in forestalling future recurrence. Now, the House also called for calm in the wake of JAMB's admission to errors in the 2025 UTME and rescheduling receipts for affected candidates. Last month, the Senate considered a similar resolution saying that there will be budgetary provisions in 2026 fiscal year for the establishment of CBT centers across the 774 local government areas of the country. The National Orientation Agency has commended the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board for its exceptional transparency and accountability in addressing the challenges that followed the recently concluded 2025 UTME. The agency described JAMB's public admission of its shortcomings as a rare and commendable display of leadership, one that demonstrates a strong sense of institutional responsibility. NOA Director General Lanre Saonilu praised JAMB Registrar Professor Ishaq Oloyede for embodying the integrity and courage expected of public office holders. He noted that this openness is not only reflective of the registrar's personal values, but also aligns with the National Values Charter, which urges public institutions to operate with the utmost transparency and accountability. However, Onilu stressed the importance of going beyond apologies, and he urged JAMB to implement remedial measures that directly address the concerns of affected candidates, parents, and stakeholders. In the same vein, JAMB has commenced the rescheduling of the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination for 379,997 candidates affected by technical glitches in Lagos and the Southeast. The rescheduled exams are slated for Friday, May 16 through Sunday, May 18, 2025. Now, JAMB Registrar Professor Ishaq Oloyede acknowledged the errors, attributing them to internal sabotage, and issued a public apology. He confirmed that affected candidates will receive notifications via text messages, emails, and phone calls, advising them to reprint their examination slips for updated details. The board has coordinated with the West African Examination Council, WAEC, to prevent scheduling conflicts, ensuring that candidates can participate in both examinations. Now, this development follows widespread concerns over low scores in the 2025 UTME, with over 1.5 million of the 1.9 million candidates scoring below 200 out of 400. As part of its ongoing mission to amplify citizens' voices and hold power accountable, the fastest growing broadcasting station in Africa, News Central, has held another town hall in Rivers State. That's in South Nigeria. The event brought together critical stakeholders to address the state's challenges, including the imposed state of emergency. Participants discussed the root causes of the crisis and proposed practical solutions aimed at restoring peace and stability. News Central's Israel Eferobo now reports.
In the heart of a tense and divided Rivers State, News Central's Town Hall series held its latest edition in Port Harcourt, bringing together politicians, traditional leaders, civil society, youth advocates, and concerned citizens in an emotionally charged, often heated conversation about the political turmoil gripping the state.
In our state and in Nigeria, not just now, governance has become personalized. And when the personalities, the expectations are no longer met, you see the pot begin to boil.
At a point, there was a pressure, and we could feel the pressure from the utterances of people within the state. The former governor would make utterances, and those who follow him will make utterances, but the utterances always bordered on one thing: who owns the state?
The town hall turned rowdy at some point. Tempers fled as representatives of opposing political factions clashed over the origin of the crisis and the role of political actors in escalating the breakdown.
For you to be elected, first of all, you must be backed by one single individual. And now that individual now brings you up either to the party or to the masses, where people will now gather generally to elect you. You don't just succeed by coming out on your own and want to impose yourself upon the people.
The point is, somebody somewhere who thinks that he is the owner of River State, who thinks that he is the owner of River State, took this position and influenced, You spoke. You said you spoke. You took that position. No. I am person like you, right?
Hold on. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, hold on. Please.
Yet, through the noise, a common thread emerged: the urgent need for reconciliation and transparent dialogue.
So what I can only say is let's give peace a chance, and the time is now. So at that point, may God bless us, guide us as we heal.
In my own understanding, I have dissected the whole thing. He committed no infraction, so there was not supposed to be any crisis ab initio.
The crisis began because of godfatherism in Nigerian politics. Now, this led to Rivers State having two parallel houses of assemblies, where one was loyal to the FCT minister and another loyal to the sitting governor.
To appeal to all parties concerned.
The town hall ended with a resounding call for peace, transparency, and an inclusive reconciliation framework that involves neutral actors, traditional leaders, civil society, and credible mediators.
Will you be saying to Barrister Nyesom that Rivers people desire peace? Please, let's find peace. Would you be saying that to him?
Please, the Honorable Minister, Rivers people deserve peace, and I join them to request that to embrace peace with his governor.
As News Central continues its town hall series across Nigeria, the Rivers edition underscores a powerful truth. Citizens are no longer passive observers in the theater of politics. They are demanding answers, inclusion, and above all, solutions.
We come as your children and we ask that you bless us with your peace.
In Lagos, for News Central, Israel Ifirobo.
That you give peace and soundness of mind to everyone that is represented here.
The Rivers State chapter of the Joint National Association of Persons with Disabilities has raised concerns over their exclusion under the ongoing emergency rule in the state. Now, speaking at a roundtable hosted by TAF Africa in Port Harcourt, members of the disability community said the absence of a democratic government has left them without representation, access, or engagement. We are both working with the Ministry of Social Welfare under Governor Fubara to prepare for elections, but everything stopped after the emergency was declared, a participant said. TAF Africa's CEO, Jake Ekpele, criticized the current sole administration for failing to address disability inclusion, urging the appointment of a special advisor to begin meaningful engagement. The news returns after the break. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Now, some constituents of Senator Ede Dafinone, who represents Delta Central in the National Assembly, have commenced the process of recalling him. Allegations were made regarding the senator's underrepresentation and poor performance. News Central correspondent Austin Azu tells us more.
Senator Ede Dafinone, elected under the platform of the APC to represent Delta Central in the National Assembly, has barely spent 2 years in office, but some of his constituents have begun to express divergent views about his representation.
Ede is sleeping in the Senate. Ede has failed us. I strongly support the recall of Senator Ede Dafinone. He has failed in every ramification. Is it not now that he's not doing something? He even forgot those who work for him. He forgot those who campaign for him. He forgot all his supporters dead.
For me, he has not done badly because you cannot use 2 years to gauge the performance of a legislator.
This group of individuals operating under Nigeria Police Unit Forum, Delta State Chapter, is calling for the senator's recall.
We, the eligible registered voters across party lines of Delta Central Senatorial District, are appealing to the senator representing Delta Central, Honorable Senator Ede Dafinone, to resign honorably of his report.
In a swift reaction, Other constituents say otherwise concerning the recall process.
His recall, I don't think is necessary at this stage because he still has like 2 more years to go. He should be given time to bring in more things. At the end of these 2 years, if he's seen not to have made much impact, before maybe the electorate, which is including me, will decide to send him back there or not.
Sincerely appeal to those who have kickstarted that process to have a rethink. They should give him the benefit of doubt to allow him rule this first tenure. And if they are not satisfied with his performance, they can as well use the ballot votes to vote him out.
A recall is the power of voters to unseat a serving lawmaker before the person's tenure expires. But the senator's chief of staff, Adelabu Bonjo, says the recall process is dead on arrival. In Asaba for News Central, Austin Azu.
Away from that, the judicial system of Nigeria has been challenged to live up to its expectation of being the last hope of the common man in trying arrested suspects in connection with the numerous killings in Plateau State. Now, stakeholders from Riom and Jos South local government areas of the state gave the challenge during an engagement organized for a peaceful farming season in the areas. News Central correspondent Jizoba Anyowe tells us more.
Both Riom and Jos South local government areas of Plateau State, known for the rich farming culture of the people, have not been spared of violent attacks in the state. Now that the rainy season is here, the General Officer Commanding and Commander of Operation Safe Haven, Major General Folusho Oyilola, believes this is the right time to engage these stakeholders on the need for peaceful farming season.
The impact of these activities on food security, economic stability, and social harmony cannot be overemphasized. We cannot afford to allow the destruction of farmlands and cattle rustling to continue, creating great tension in the area. The herding and farming communities must educate their wards on the need to take conscious steps against farm destruction and attack on cattle, as well as cattle poisoning, which are often the major crisis triggers.
Governor Caleb Mutfwang and other major actors at the event are of the view that if the right strings are pulled, then peace will reign in the state again.
You say the police is there, the military men are there, they will not do all the job. Charity begins at home. We have a lot of duty to do.
We have a constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that has core values. That when those core values are respected, we are going to succeed as a nation.
We must return to our family values. That is what has eroded us and is the reason why we will continue to have sittings like this, time without number, and solutions are not found.
These locals who usually bear the brunt of these attacks cannot wait for lasting peace on the plateau.
You buy fertilizer farm and then during harvest, they will cut it down. On this note, we are calling that we should have a memorandum of understanding here and sign.
We used to arrest the criminals. We will take them to the police stations immediately. You will see a lawyer and his back before you say anything. So that criminal is back home.
As this event draws to a close, it also serves as a challenge and a wake-up call to the judiciary to truly prove that they are the last hope of the common man in Jos South local government area of Plateau State. For News Central, Chizoba Anyowe.
Gabon's former president, Ali Bongo Ondimba, and his family have been released from detention and have arrived in Luanda, Angola. We'll tell you more after the break. Join us again. away from Nigeria, Gabon's former president, Ali Bongo Ondimba, and his family have been released from detention and have arrived in Luanda, Angola. The announcement was made Friday by the Angolan presidency, which credited the release to diplomatic efforts led by President Joao Lourenco, who also currently chairs the African Union. Lourenco held talks with Gabon's transitional leader, President Brice Oligui Nguema, resulting in the Bongo family's release. Chad's former Prime Minister, Succe Masra, has been reportedly taken by force from his home early Friday. Now, according to a statement from his party, Les Transformateurs, Masra was abducted at 5:56 a.m. by armed military personnel. A video posted on his official Facebook page, though unverified, shows him surrounded by soldiers as he leaves his residence, which also serves as party headquarters. Masra, a prominent critic of President Mahamat Idris Debno Itno, served as Prime Minister from January to May 2024 and contested the May presidential election, officially earning 18.5% of the vote to Debi's 61.3%. However, Masra rejected the result, claiming victory, and international observers questioned the credibility of the election. In the world of sports, Ezekiel Nathaniel set a new Nigerian record in the men's 400-meter hurdles, clocking an impressive. The torch of unity arrived in Ogun State ahead of the 22nd National Sports Festival Getaway Games 2024. Governor Dakwa Abiodun received the torch from athlete Dorcas Adesokan at the City Gate on the Abeokuta-Shagam Expressway. Now, the torch's arrival signals Ogun's readiness to host national events for the second time, with facilities like the Olympic-sized swimming pool prepared. The torch, which began its journey across Nigeria in March, symbolizes national unity and youth empowerment through sports. Delegates are expected to arrive Friday, with the opening ceremony scheduled for Sunday at the MKO Abiola Stadium in Abeokuta, highlighting Ogun's cultural vibrancy and commitment to sports development.
This occasion taking place at the City Gate of the Gateway State, Ogun State, this day, Thursday, 15th May 2025. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to everyone present here today. So it is the torch that Mr. President, in his committed spirit to youth development and sportsmanship, that same torch that Mr. President lit that day about a month and a half ago and handed over to the different states, that has now come home to the home state of Ogun today.
Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do you follow us on social media? We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.